This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, and welcome to the Pit Stop, and thank you for being here, being part of the pit crew as we talk about today's sim racing news. Here we are, Monday, October 16th, and not a lot of news over the weekend. It was actually one of the slower weekends in racing and sim racing in general. And you know what, Tom? That is exactly it. The real star of today's show is the pit crew. You guys and your opinions on these topics is the real star of the show. You guys are the star of the show, and I couldn't do it without you. I appreciate you being here. I love doing these daily news shows at this point in time, just keeping up on news. And I saw a few people already chimed in on one of our stories, so we're going to get to that. So let's get right into it. And you guys be sure to let me know anything you saw or heard about over the weekend, and we will talk about what's going on in sim racing. Funny thing I mentioned on Friday's stream is Friday the 13th. My Friday race was horrible. So I had a horrible Friday the 13th as far as racing goes. But moving on to today's sim racing news, I guess today's news in Gran Turismo is really tomorrow. Tomorrow is the day that Gran Turismo is coming out. Everybody's going to be able to drive it in its full version, not the demo. Both demos for Forza and Gran Turismo really seem to kind of be a little of a letdown even. So, and it's really funny that they both did it so closely to the release of the title that I wonder if it did more harm than good. I'm very much looking forward to Gran Turismo. I've got a TGT wheel to use with it when I get it, and that will be very, very cool as well. So, will I be getting the Samsung VR headset? Jeff, I don't know. I'm actually working on getting an Oculus here to start playing with a little more often than I have. I've driven a lot of VR, but I haven't been using it at home religiously as much as I should, to be honest with you. We did a whole VR show on the future of VR, and you got Gamer Muscle, his opinion on it. You got my opinion on it, and a lot of people out there chimed in with their thoughts. We talked about where it is today, where it'll be tomorrow. Excuse me. Get a sip of my coffee. Speaking of coffee, I did order 2 mugs. I designed and ordered 2 mugs. And I'm not sure if I should get them in before I let you guys spend your money on them, because they weren't cheap. I think they were like 20 bucks a piece, 22 bucks a piece. I do have a link. I could find it, but again, maybe we should see how mine came out before anyone else wants to order any of those. Also, since I'm on a side note, t-shirts. I had a little mix-up on t-shirts. Thomas, Paul, and Wayne, all of your t-shirts went out on Saturday. I thought they went out last week. There was a little mix-up with somebody who does some work for me. They did not go out. So they all went out on Saturday, and you should get them very, very quickly. Also, Sayip, your stickers have been sent out as well. So everybody should be getting those. Also, yeah, oh, you saw that. That's also part of my weekend. There it is. I cut my head. Tell you what, when you lose your hair, you even touch your head. The wind blows too hard and you cut your head. Doesn't hurt, just annoying and ugly. Tom, I am not sure. I want to see how they come out. It's kind of weird. You know, years ago you were able to set up a cafe press as an example shop, and it was very simple. Now they seem to have complicated the whole thing and made it very difficult to do. So we'll have to work on on that. Again, I ordered 2 for myself. I think they came out pretty cool. I can try to pull them up and find it real quick. See if we can do that for you guys since we're on the topic. Let's see if I can find this. Sorry. We seem to always be taking some diversions, huh? So here is the mug that I did. And the graphic I did is sort of like the jumping car. I did it with the black interior like this. So it looks like that. Simpit with my flying Ferrari. No, I didn't wear my helmet. And the cops aren't here for me. So that is the... Here, I'll put the link in. If you guys want to take a gamble, I'm not taking any responsibility whatsoever for the outcome. This is how I ordered it. I ordered 2. If you're down, go for it. Otherwise, hang in there until I get mine and you can see it, and I'll put a link wherever we need it to be. So that was by special request by a handful of people. Moving on with the news. iRacing, this is what everybody was all over already. Not only are the not only are the Rallycross cars coming to iRacing, but in addition to that, like many things, they have an affiliation with Red Bull GRC, which is really good. So, yes, you can call it a marketing thing, big deal. They have the logo, woohoo. But in the case of iRacing, an affiliation usually means prize money, and it also usually means sort of a pathway to licensing, making it even easier for them to get more cars, tracks, and things into the series quickly, and sometimes even in packages. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm very excited about the Rallycross. I have played it a little bit in their alpha mode, as they call it. I'm not even sure I'm supposed to talk about that, but I don't show it. But it is a lot of fun, and it's a completely different discipline of racing. So for those of you who know dirt racing, turning the car is a lot different than turning on a road course. Balancing the car off of jumps is a trick in its own. Getting it to rotate or not rotate, those kind of tricks and skills that come to the masters of Rallycross. So I myself am very, very much looking forward to it. Barry, that's weird, because you're here all the time. You'd think it would have some kind of a ability to understand your presence. Mike, we just mentioned that it's coming out tomorrow as far as Gran Turismo Sport goes. Don't have a lot of big news today, unfortunately. Project Cars. We talked about their affiliation with various drivers who lent in opinions. Anyway, they had this post on the Project Cars Twitter feed talking about Rene Rast is the new DTM champion. He was one of their handling consultants. So if you go back to when we were talking about the various consultants that they have working on this game and what it really meant. You know, what kind of input did they really put in? Renee, Tommy Milner, Ben Collins, The Stig, Vaughn Gittin Jr. You know, hey, how is the drifting in particular? Vaughn was one of their big supporters or helpers. Nicholas Hamilton, Mitchell De Jong, again, how is the Rallycross? Oliver Erickson, I met both of these guys. How is the Rallycross specifically? AJ, I believe there was talk of split licenses to take care of that. Not sure if it happens or not. Mike, it's on the way, and I'm wondering if it's going to get here before I have the time to just buy it myself. So we'll see. It is on the way, but it's still not here. Today's Monday, though. Maybe it comes today. Next up, Raceroom. We talked about the Mercedes competition. I watched it. I was going to do a watch party, but it was during my stream, and then when I went away, and then I had a power outage, and couldn't even do what I wanted to do with that. Anyway, this is a cool picture showing the top 3 winners. And then one of them carries over to Heusinkveld, this guy here. Moritz, I'm sorry. Anyway, he was the 3rd place finisher with Core Racing, and I believe Heusinkveld is one of their sponsors. Other thing about Heusinkveld is their pedals have been out of stock. So it looks like their 3-pedal Pro set is now back in stock, ready for ordering, and that had been a while since we've had that available. So if you are looking for some super high-end pedals, that's where you'd want to check them out. One of the places, that's for sure. And my last bit of news before I check in with what you guys said a few things. Tom, wonder if they're set. Okay, that's a great. Let's go. You know, we're short on news. So is iRacing spreading too thin? To an extent, to the existing clientele, the perception might be yes, because if you're in an oval series and you lose half your guys to the dirt oval, and if you're in a either series and you lose more guys to the rally racing, it potentially can feel like it's spreading itself too thin. However, Rallycross is the kind of thing that could bring a whole new group into the sim. So I think that's a very, Rallycross is the fastest growing form of motorsport right now, because you look at Formula 1, IndyCar, NASCAR, they've all peaked or maintained their peak for quite some time. Rallycross is coming from nowhere, and it's on a huge, huge path, and entertainment bang for buck, it's leading the way at this point, and it's maybe a much more modern template of what people want. So I think that with that, you're going to get a younger audience. You're going to get a hipper audience and maybe even a different level of gamer audience because they're the new age gamers, let's face it. Marquis says iRacing needs to update their tracks. There's a handful of tracks they desperately need to update, and to the hardcore, when you consider iRacing as to the millimeter of accuracy on their scans, and that's what they take such pride in, as tracks get changed or resurfaced or new buildings, their scans are as obsolete as a fantasy track or just a made from GPS data or other ways, or a lesser scan even. And Steam King, that's the thing. I think Rallycross tracks, I don't know their process for building. I should talk to them about that specifically. Do they laser scan them? Are they nearly as critical? I don't see how it'd be quite as important to. This might open up the doors on how they're able to make tracks and how quickly. Hello, the big one. So anyway, Reiza Studios is my next and last topic in the news, unless you guys have anything out there. They recently did that car pack. They just came out with a new fix, 1.481. This actually came out on Friday, but it was after we did the show, so we weren't able to talk about that. So if you're a Reiza Studios driver, we talked a lot about Automobilista. Did very well in our sim racing poll. We're going to talk about that real quick. And, but if you're into that, there is a patch available and you can get a little more out of that sim. So, let's talk about this weekend. This was a little bit of a train wreck. I don't know if any of you caught Saturday's show. It was fun. I had a good time, so don't get me wrong, but I was panicking and stressing out, and several people said, did you think this through? And, you know, I thought the topic through very well and extensively. I didn't think through what I was trying to do with a live crowd and take votes. And it turned into a real nightmare. And it was kind of funny watching me try to deal with it. People giving me recommendations on how to deal with it. We did have a lot of fun, and we accomplished our goal, though. And that was building the ultimate perfect sim. And what I meant, and you can see from this graphic that I have up, I was talking about taking the best aspects from each sim. So let's just say that we love the graphics of Project Cars 2. Let's take a slice of Project Cars 2 to make the perfect pizza. Let's say that we love the multiplayer aspects of iRacing, and we take that slice and add it to that Project Cars 2 graphics. And in the end, we would be able to do an entire pizza made up of the best features of the best sims to create the ultimate sim. So, Mikhail says straw poll. I looked at straw poll, but it would have been 32 straw polls from my understand. So, in the link in description to this show, there is a link to a poll. I spent all day Saturday making it. I've already had 175 people give their answers. It's somewhere between 30 and 35 questions. It breaks down sim racing to every level that I could possibly think of because we spent 2 hours going over the topic. I would encourage you, please, check out the link in the description of the show, excuse me. You wouldn't eat my pizza? Or it's at the Facebook page. I'd love your opinions. I would love to get as many people voting on that as possible, because when it's done, I think I'm going to do a special video with at least the biggest categories, maybe not all 30 plus categories. Yes, some people want a slice without pineapple, myself included on that one. So anyway, if you haven't already, please, if you want, check out that show. It's kind of amusing. It is 2 hours long. And at the very least, please fill in that. I'm going to go ahead and take the results of that and make them very public. We'll do a show maybe talking about the big items of it. Maybe do a live show going over the answers that we all agreed on, or with a few of them have been clear-cut winners, I'll just tell you, and a few of them have been very tight races. And when I thought it would be a lot of fanboy support, and you'd look and just somebody label, nope. I'm getting really good, honest answers from people, and I appreciate that as much as taking the time to do the poll. So that's it as far as the pizza goes. We'll move on. I don't want to make everybody too hungry. Last thing I'm going to mention, actually I'll move on to the Pitstop map. I put a few more things. We're getting a little more density in the eastern USA, in the northeastern USA, and really in Europe. So, again, if you're here and you don't think I've got your representation on the map. Please let me know where you're from, and I will keep adding more and more regions to the map so we show just how strong the pit crew really is. Last up is historic racing. So we had our first weeks of racing Thursday and Friday night at Zandvoort. I just had the worst 2 races I can imagine. Everything that could go wrong went wrong, but we're going to keep trucking through this week at Spa. Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, we will do a setup and attack the track shop and see what we can do to do a little bit better at Spa for Thursday and Friday night's race. If you haven't, go to simracingsystem.com and you can join the series we're running. It's Assetto Corsa. We're running the Ferrari 312/67 version. Really difficult, really fun car. One of my favorite cars I've ever driven in all of sim racing, to be honest with you. But that doesn't mean it's easy to drive. Quite the opposite. It's quite difficult. Hello, Denmark, and I will add you to the list as well. Corrupticut. So, anyway, I would encourage you all to come out Wednesday night. We are going to maybe get a practice room. I'm working on getting a practice room working or running in the background, so maybe we can all join the same sessions. I was going to try to host it myself, but I don't know if I have the bandwidth to stream and host and race all simultaneously. Yes, Barry, current Spa, not the dated Spa. So this one has guardrails that'll keep you on the track. Mikhail, I'll do my best to learn a handful, but I'm a little more concerned about learning what I need to do out of the car than I am. Yeah, I know, Eau Rouge, there you go. I know that one. So I'll do my best to learn a few more of the corners by names, but don't hold me to it, and please correct me if I get any wrong ones during the thing. The big one, have you ever hosted an Assetto Corsa session? Because that's not easy either. So, if anybody is in, I have one person who might be able to host. If anybody else is interested in stepping up and helping out the pit crew and knows about and is good at hosting Assetto Corsa practice servers, let me know. Sean, S-H-A-U-N, @thesimpit.com, and I'd love to have your help on that. And back to email, since I just did mention the email, I did get my email sorted out, and I've answered about 95%. I'm going through the last ones today. So if by the end of today you haven't heard back from me, then somehow your email was truly missed or lost, and just send me a new one. Everything is up and running a lot better now, so that'll work. Barry, well, we can't change now, so that's okay. It's fun. I've driven at this version of Spa, and it is fun. And easy isn't a word that I'd ever use to describe that car, but I wouldn't say it's impossible. It just takes a lot of self-control. Easy car to drive. You just need to exhibit self-control, mainly with the gas and brake, and also the steering, but mainly the gas and brake pedal. Anyway, that's all I have. I think that all of you have chimed in with your opinion on things, and I think we've covered today's news. We'll be back tomorrow for tomorrow's news. Do this every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time for the pit stop, and I will see you tomorrow for that show. For today, this is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.